You have 10 seconds to absolutely bomb your job interview. How do you do it? Finally, one I can answer. Asian parents made me do an interview for some job I didn't want. So I just showed up and started having lunch in the room. Lasted about 5 seconds before being asked to leave. Interviewer, isn't this a bad time to be doing this? You with your mouth full of food. I'm having a bad time. I can do it in 1 second. Nice tits. This works on offending both women and men. Is this a picture of your daughter? Can I keep it? Even better if she's 7. And a 9. Always wanted to do this. Take off your shoe and sock, and start clipping your toenails. Then eat them. And offer the interviewer some. Instead of a handshake, go in for an open mouth kiss. To assert dominance. Of course. Loud porn blasting from your pocketed phone speaker. Act like you can't hear it. Insist that you can't hear anything. I forgot to check. Is this building within 500 feet of a school? Bonus points if you are applying to a school. Does this place have cameras? If so, how many and where? Sounds like you have history with security systems. We like folks who are safety conscious. Shows they really care. You're hired. Grab the interviewer's coffee cup and take a drink. Proceed to then grab your resume in front of them and skim it while humming to yourself judgmentally. They are now the interviewee. You're a terrible candidate for the role I need, but I'm doing the interview. I'm sorry, sir. You're just going to have to leave. Security. Can you escort this man to his car? Repeat everything they say in a mocking tone. Repeat everything they say in a mocking tone. Interviewer, excuse me. Excuse me. Interviewer, sir, I'm going to have to ask you to stop. Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to stop. Sorry if my nose bleeds. I just did a line that was bigger than it looked. Walk in shaking and scratching my face. Immediately ask if they pay in cash. Tell them I'll only work for the double the pay at half the hours. Win-win situation. You either bomb the interview or get great pay and half the hours of everyone else. Worked at a job where a guy started in the same position as me just a month earlier. Really low on the totem pole type position. This guy f***ed the dog a lot. Got nothing done. Pretty sure he was also selling drugs on the side. Then after a few months, he asks my supervisor if he could have an assistant. She was floored. She says I don't even have an assistant. And he was like, so is that a no? Funny thing was, she was trying to decide if she should fire this asshole. After that, she started to get the ball rolling on that. She had to get it approved by the manager, and I think the owner, and they had to discuss about finding a replacement. While that was going on, he put in his 2 weeks and found another job doing the same thing. Answer the question, where do you see yourself in 5 years? By answering, I'll be too valuable to this organization for them to waste my time on recruiting the new employees. I always answer, wherever you want me, baby. Then wink and maybe do a gun finger at them. I'm not sure if this is a bad move or a really good one, but it hasn't landed me a job yet. I like competing company better, but they wouldn't hire me. Do you at least pay well? Sue, do you guys drug test? Not actually disqualifying. I actually still got a job after I mentioned that. Despite the paperwork, I wouldn't be taking a drug test or background test as it was too time consuming for them. Most businesses don't actually do either as it costs them money. Bluffing is usually good enough to deter all the undesirable applicants. Forget your own age. It's how I bombed my first one. I had just turned 18. For some reason my dumbass said 16. Number 18. I could tell they didn't believe anything I said after that. Will my boss be female? I don't particularly care to have a woman telling me what to do. Scream. Answer all of the questions perfectly. Shake their hands firmly. Reiterate your interest in the job. And just throw back your head and scream. The loudest, highest scream of your life. After you have completed this, clear your throat loudly. Then you really have to go in for the kill. Reach across the table and shake their hand once more, smiling as if nothing happened. Tell them to have a nice day, knowing that you have called into question all aspects of their life. I love the enthusiasm and confidence. We'll have you leading our team workshops in no time. When can you start? To be said to interviewer, sweetie, can you grab me a coffee pronto? Extra points if it's a dude. I'd shake your hand but I wouldn't want you to catch it. Do not elaborate. I don't feel comfortable working near black people, so if you could put my desk farther away from the colored folk that would be preferable. I want to work for you because it will give me the chance to meet heaps of new people and introduce them to the wonders of essential oils and the horrors of vaccines. Bonus point if the interview is at a doctor's office. I didn't know ugly people worked here, but good for you for getting a managerial position. Regardless of their race, refer to the interviewer as the N-word as much as possible. Do you mind if I masturbate while we do this? Step 1. Furry suit. Step 2. Jizz stains. Step 3. Insist on a hug instead of a handshake. Tell them my goal is to replace them. Accidentally insult the interviewer's profession. I'm so glad this position is for IT and not something worthless like HR. Place some C4 and then leave quickly. Can you do crack in the break room? Wait for an important question to start being asked and, in the middle of the interviewer's sentence, hold up a finger as an indication that the interview should pause his sentence. Lift up one butt cheek from the chair and let out the juiciest, ranklest fart of all time while maintaining eye contact with the interviewer and then say, I finished your sentence for you. Say I hate your company and everything it stands for. F you. F your company. I slashed your tires you pretentious hack. All while unplugging and sticking the computer monitor under your arm. Lock eyes and let out a squeaky, muffled 9-second fart. Shit on the floor, or if I'm trying to impress them, helicopter dick. Helicopter dick while shitting. You're hired. On a scale from 1 to 10, how hot is your daughter? I'm newly single, not looking for anything serious but I absolutely cannot date any uglies. If she looks like you, though, I'm not interested. Just so you know I killed like 3 people last year but don't worry it was for this cult thing in Mexico and that's in the past now. I can't pass a drug test, is that okay? Also if anyone asks, the white stuff I store in my desk is powdered sugar, but between you and me it's cocaine. I just had an interview in Wednesday that I was a disaster at. I was still am pregnant and started crying from hormones and nerves. Less than 10 seconds. But I think it did the trick. Now, I don't think we should drag politics into this. And I don't really agree with everything Hitler said, but in an interview for a hospital if they ask a medical-related question start singing the hip bones connected to the thigh bone frantically. In an interview for an accounting firm imply that a chimpanzee with a calculator could do the job, so you're perfectly qualified. Ask how firm the sexual harassment policy is. Ask the interviewer if he's cool when asked to do a drug test, and imply that you need some clean urine and are willing to pay. Interviewer, what are your hobbies outside of work? Me, furry porn. What are your hobbies? Tax fraud, arson and murder. Careful, they might make you a manager. Fart and say, got more where that came from, fucko, and then wink suggestively. Show them my CV and years of absolutely nothing and tell them about my social anxiety. That or ask if they've ever had sex with a donkey. Have a mental breakdown, and mumble donkey sex felt so bad while you're crying. Just based on interviews I've conducted, show up in filthy clothes. Smell terrible, make racist or sexist jokes. Show up late and not give a say or during the interview. Answer all or most of our questions with unrelated anecdotes about your kids and how all of the skills we ask about came to you because you're a parent. Admit you lied on the resume or had someone else do it for you. These were not all the same candidate, though several are from the same person. I was floored that they actually gave him a chance. Took a day and a half for him to be walked out. True story, off topic but somewhat related. I went into interview for a sales job in the technology field. The hiring manager said you have 5 minutes to piss me off. I wasn't sure if he was implying that my interview will suck, or to literally piss him off. I stood up, extended my arm and put it at the end of his desk. I looked him square in the eye and moved my arm from one end to the other, knocking over keyboards and family photos and jars of shit. He simply said, "You're hired and get the out of my office." This was about 15 years ago and I still work here. Are you a cat? Tell me about a time you disagreed with a coworker, and how did you resolve it? Well, Sally would always complain about my ideas and was in a bad mood. I think she was on her period, so I just bought some ice cream and let the red tide rain in. I just saw two hotties while walking over to the interview room. Would you say such fine specimens are often encountered around here? What's your biggest flaw? My honesty. I don't think that's a flaw. I don't give a what you think.